To Facebook, good morning LinkedIn, and good morning YouTube. I should be streaming everywhere this morning. So if you haven't met me before, my name's Helen Bullen. I'm a business mentor. I'm also experienced in owning my own bricks and mortar businesses, my online businesses. So also a teacher, which people sometimes say, what are your qualifications? I'm like, well, actually, I am a teacher as well. But I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, and I've made mistakes along the way, and I've had successes along the way. And that's probably where I come from with my experience. So I am going to be talking today about winning versus losing. Now, before we get into that, it is Woohoo Wednesday. And if you've never watched me before, this is the time to not think Wednesday is a hump day. Emma Winter wins the title of coming on first and give me a woohoo. If you're on Instagram, wherever you are, give me a woohoo in the comments. I know it's a slightly silly thing to do. And I also know that I've got dirty glasses. So while I'm telling you, I will... does anybody else have a woolly hat on the table? I've been up that early that I've had a hat on this morning. Oh, anyway, but Woohoo Wednesday is all about not thinking Wednesday is a hump day. If you think Wednesday is a hump day, then there's something you need to change in your business or your life, because you can't go through your life dreading Sunday night because you're going to have to go to work on Monday, get into Wednesday and then wishing it was Friday, and then maybe Friday evening and Saturday are joyful for you, and then the rest of the week you're wishing your life away. And for somebody who hence has lots of hats, had cancer last year, chemotherapy, and saw her life a little bit traveling in front of her, you need to live for now, okay? And you need to make sure that every day you enjoy what you're doing. Now, it may not be that you can instantly change what's going on in your work or your life at the moment, but you can certainly work towards it. I'm just going to embarrass him. I can see my son's on. Joe, you won't want to listen to this. I'm doing a live. Bless him. I'm going to just wave at my son. And I bet he'll be like, oh my God, I'm off now. Anyway, so Woohoo Wednesday is more about making sure you're in the right business, doing the right thing. And I know in the HB Club, we're trying to be really happy in our businesses this month. And when you are trying to be happy in your business, the key is to have a business that you like and you love. So maybe today you sit down and you tweak what you've got. Maybe you need to look at it. Maybe something doesn't sit. And don't think that when you build a business, you have to like it for the lifetime of your life, of your working life, because we change as people, what our needs are, what our wants are. Maybe we get fed up with things, and it's great to just keep evolving your business, even sometimes doing a complete U-turn. There is nothing wrong with that. So today I'm going to be talking about winning and losing. But let me first of all, let's say good morning to everybody. So I can see loads of you on Facebook. If you're on Instagram and you want to say hello, please just post it in the comments. I would love to see that. I don't think I've got anything else there. So we've got Emma's woohoo. Good morning, Emma. Rebecca, woohoo. Forcing myself to feel a bit woohoo. Sometimes we have to do that and we have to say it. But rather than forcing it, find something today, Rebecca, that you can do that makes you feel that way. So whether it's listening to music, going for a walk, I know you've got horses, riding horses. What is it that's going to make you feel better? Because we could all get to that place. For me, and it's in my new book, I go and smile in the mirror. Now, if you're in my membership, you've heard me say this before, but it sounds slightly bonkers, doesn't it? But all the time I was going through my chemo, bald-headed, putting on weight, not recognizing who I was, I would smirk in a mirror. And you know what's the great thing is? The person will always smile back at you, but I could see the inner me. And then I used to laugh at myself for doing it. I also talk to myself in the mirror, but let's not go there. That is not why I have a mirror behind me, so I can just turn around and have a little chat. Good morning, Rebecca. She's got her woolly hat on. Morning, Ben. Woohoo. Morning, Sue. Ben, I can see you again on my StreamYard. No hump day here, says Sue. I love that. Jen's on with a woohoo. Steph's on with a really long woohoo. Morning, Sarah Louise. Sarah Louise, where's your woohoo? Give me a hello on a Woohoo Wednesday. Morning, all. Hope we're all well. I love that about Steph. Steph comes on if ever Steph's on any of my lives, my group, she always asks how everybody else is. So I love that. VT Connect. I can't see your name. I hate Instagram for that. But good morning. And I like the high fives. And I like I think it's a smiley face. I'd have to take my glasses off to look. But good morning. So let's talk about now. I've made some fabulous notes for this talk. I like recycling. Look, on the back of an envelope. Never say you can't make notes on something. It's a woohoo miracle, says Ben, because I use a platform called StreamYard, and quite often if Ben comes on, I can't see it's him. And we do say he's king for the day when that happens, but I can see him right now. So winning versus losing. So I watched a football match at the weekend, and I don't often go to football, but it was like a local playing match. It was a men's game, and everybody on there wanted to win. And it was really odd to watch the mechanics of mindset. And I think I'm going to tell you the story of the football match, but we can relate that to business as well and in anything we do. So the match started. I wasn't there right at the beginning, but a goal went in pretty soon. And by halftime, I think it was either 1-0 or 2-0. And what happened was the winning team were woohoo, whatever they were up, they went off. The losing team, now this is at half time. I think, am I right in football? You still have 45 minutes. They had heads down. They came off. The coach tried to talk to them. I watched. They weren't standing listening to the coach. They were wandering around doing their own thing. So what was happening was a team was splintering. Now, I've played National League volleyball for years. I played in the top league in the country. In fact, for one of the top teams because I've won the league and I've won cup. So I know about team mentality. And I think that's probably why I've been successful in my businesses is because I run my businesses the same way. And it's definitely a mindset thing. Morning, Sarah. Nice to see you on. So this football match, they came back on. And then what happened was interesting to watch. It wasn't two teams that were, again, like they started trying to win the game. You had one team that was very confident and were going to win the game. You could see that. Not because their skill was particularly better than the others, but the losing team. Now, this is where we need to think about mindset. The losing team, heads dropped, all walking back on, bickering as they went back on, bickering with the coach. Now, in my mentality, whenever I've had a coach or a mentor, and yes, you can swap coach and mentor. And we see it in football all the time. In professional leagues, if somebody's not any good, they go pretty quickly. But while they're in, you are better to listen to your team leader, unless you've got a suggestion you can put forward, and play as a team. Now, because what happens on a football pitch, in a business, in anything, is you all have different roles. And if you try to start doing somebody else's role, your role doesn't get done as well. Or you leave part of the pitch, in this case, open. So what started to happen was the goalie, I noticed, first of all, he is talking to himself. Nothing wrong with that, because I do a lot of that. But he's commenting. I'm down his end. I can hear him saying, they're not playing. Nobody wants to try. This team is not. So he's like, and the guys that are playing near him can hear that. Then he decides that is it called a goal kick? I'm not very good at football, but anyway, every time he had the ball that he could kick back, he would kick it right back to the far end, almost to the goal. And I think 9 times out of the 10 times he did it, it rolled off the pitch. So absolutely useless. So players were turning around and going, saying, use us up the pitch, pass to me, I'm over here. There's a space. It's like, no, I'm the only one that wants to win. So number one, yep, that's not good. Then you started to see players fraction off and start to be solo players. So they weren't passing. It was going back to watching, like my son when he used to play when he was 5 years old, where they all used to hover around the ball or they'd try and keep the ball. You know, in football, it's about passing. And I know you're thinking, why is she going with business? But this is true. It's about passing ahead of the player so they run onto the ball. If you try and run the ball all the way up the pitch, what you get is a load of defenders coming in and gradually closing you down and will take the ball off. Unless you're some superhero, speedy, can get in front of them, stay on side and then score a goal. It's very rare, okay? But there were players doing that. And the more I watched, the more nasty they got to each other, the more other players doubted themselves. You could see when they got the ball, because if they made a mistake, they were going to get berated. This went on. And I think the final score was 5-0. And it didn't need to be. It could have been a really tight match. So they gave up. The team gave up. So that was me. It was like, that can sometimes happen in business. Now I want to ask you the question. Do you ever beat yourself in your own business? So you may, number one, perceive others to be winning, right? Have you ever done that? This is looking at your social media or listening to peers or just thinking everybody's better than me. How many times have you done that? Just put a yes in the comments if you've done that. Everybody's better than me. And then what happens is instead of, it can go two ways. Number one, if I think somebody's going to win or better than me, that actually inspires me to try better and go and do it. So I'm always like, if somebody gives me attitude, when I used to play volleyball across the net, I'd be like, oh, and watch me win now. You know, no bullies on my sweatshirt. I will watch me and bloody hell watch me is my thing. But the other way it quite often goes is people just say, they're better than me. So what's the point? Yeah, I've got some yeses coming in the comments. They're better than me. Why should I bother? Or I'll never be like that. And that is part of you being like that football team that have your head down and you're losing already. All right. So you need to cast that out. Forget what others are doing unless you think, wow, that's a great idea. I think I could build on something like that. Or, wow, that's an ingenious idea. Or, wow, I love the way they run their team. If you're learning from somebody, follow them. If you're not, don't watch anymore. All right. So don't do that. Don't perceive others are winning when you're not and let that affect you. The next one is we beat ourselves up when things don't quite go how we want them. And that happens in business. All right. It does. You can do launches. Sometimes people do launches of products or launches of your services. And it's like tumbleweed. You don't get anybody, or you get one person and you wanted 10, or you wanted 500 and you got 3, all relative. The worst thing you can do is say, I'm not doing that again. That was rubbish. I'm never going to do that. And I'll never launch again. That's no way to run your business. What you need to do is, yes, you need to look at it and think, okay, what could I do better? What could I change? Honestly, did I turn up and show up and tell people what I'm doing? Or am I the best kept secret? Top thing in business is people are the best kept secret of what they do. So you're like, well, nobody buys from me. Well, nobody knows what you're doing. So maybe you need to step up a bit. Maybe you need to build your email list. Maybe you need to build your presence on social media. Maybe you need to show up consistently and persistently. What is it you need to do? And then go again. Because quite often, and we've had a couple of these instances in the HB Club just recently, people launching who the first time it didn't go right. And the second time it did. I've just had somebody who's opened their new clinic and it's gone well. We've had somebody else that did a launch for a program that they're running, tumbleweed the first time. Went again, adjusted things, went to more in-person networking because that's how they work and how people buy into them. And they've got a full list on it. So never give up, never beat yourself up. Don't just leave things. If something really is wrong and you know it is in the gut, then go again, but change it. Don't do the same thing. You know, if it's not working and you really know you've made a mistake, then instead of giving up and throwing, tools, Sue Ford's on right now. And she has a really, I don't know if Sue's or she heard it from somebody. It's like, I love this analogy, carrying a tray of glasses. You're carrying the champagne out of the wedding. Maybe you're, like this with your tray on your hand. And one of the glasses falls over, maybe 2. They tip over, they fall off. And instead of just carrying on and thinking, oh, I have to get somebody to clear up the glass and the mess, you chuck the rest of the tray on the floor because you go, well, what's the point of delivering anybody a glass now? Yeah, I like that analogy. It's ridiculous, isn't it? If somebody was a waiter doing that, you'd be like, well, they only dropped 2. Why have they thrown the rest on the floor? But that's a bit like it in business. If something doesn't work, don't chuck it all away. Look at it, regroup, go again. I am going to come back to my lovely, lovely comments. So thank you very much for commenting. Giving up is a big thing in business. If you are a natural giver-upper, stop it. That's my advice. Stop it. Now, if you're somebody who naturally goes, I can't do it, right? Change that word. Change your mindset. I will, watch me. I may have to change. I may have to ask for help. I may have to look at a slightly different way of doing it. If it doesn't sit well with you, don't do it. Do something else, but do something else. Don't just give up. Unless you don't want a business. If you don't want your business, give up all you like. Yeah, fill your boots. If you don't want to make any money, fine, go your own way. But you have to have something inside you that says, I'm not giving up. I'm going to relook at this. I'm going to refocus and I'm going to go again. Because if you agree, just give me a heart, give me a thumbs up, whatever it is on the screen. I'd love to know if you agree with me. And I love it. On Facebook, I'm not going to see that, so I'm going to have a look later. But just tell me in the comments, what do you think about that? Do you give up? Have you felt yourself thinking, I just can't do this? And normally when we give up, there's a voice that's going, I'm useless. I can't do this. Others are better than me. What is the point? I give up. If you've ever heard that in your head, you're not alone. But you don't have to. So when you start going, I'm useless, I give up, think, hang on a minute. I just need to go and talk to the mirror. I do that. I talk to myself. Now, come on. I stop this and get on with it. I did it all. For those of you who have known me for a long time, I've always used my commit to achieve principles. And if you don't know about them, check out the links in any of my bios anyway. You can go and find my book. In fact, it's half price, I think, at the moment on Amazon. I've got your back. And it doesn't matter if you're not a therapist. It has all my principles in there and it is a way to run your business. But I've always used those. It's my natural default. I just wrote about them because that's what I do. I did it with my chemotherapy as well. And part of that was thinking, right, you just need to keep taking a step forward. I need to understand. I need to keep taking action. And I stood in the mirror and I talked to myself and say, come on, negativity feels shit. It's not going to sort anything. So let's go. What am I grateful for today? And it is about talking to yourself. You can talk to yourself like you would a friend that you're trying to G up. Yep. Talk to the mirror. Yes, I'll do that, Suzanne. Try it. It's in my new book that's coming out in February. And I did a lot of it. And don't be mean to yourself. There's one rule about talking in the mirror. You're not allowed, because I sometimes walk past myself and I'd say, oh my God, you look like Gollum. When I was bald, I just felt that I was bloated. I didn't recognize myself. And then I'd say, stop it. And I'd smile at the mirror, makes me well up a bit. I'd smile at the mirror and I'd think, I'm still in there. I'm still in there. So go for that. Talk to yourself and say, oh, hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. So was it Sarah? Hang on a minute, Sarah. You can say to yourself, why are you being a defeatist? Come on, we can do this. We can do this. Have it as your friend. I know it sounds mad, but you should be, and I'm going off on tangents here all over the place, but you should be your own best friend, because let's face it, we're with ourselves from birth to death. The only person in the world that is with you all the time. It's like having your own Siamese twin, all right? You are with you. If you are constantly telling yourself that you hate yourself, you're useless, you're blah, 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 how's that going to work? If you had a friend that was telling you that, I could easily say to you, junk that friend. We can't get rid of ourselves, but we also should know that we shouldn't be mean to ourselves. I've done it. I remember once, it was years ago, but I was on a retreat and I remember saying, I just feel stupid. All through my schooling life, I felt stupid. I was a bit dyslexic, I think, never found out. I don't learn by didactic. I have to understand things. The fact is, I didn't know when I was at school. That makes me a really good teacher because I'm very basic on how I teach things. I need to know and I need to understand it. But I remember running upstairs thinking, oh God, I'm going to cry. Right, I'll just go up to my room for a bit. I was in Thailand. First time I've been to Thailand. In Thailand, ran up to my room and just looked in the mirror. I was obviously doing it then and said, you're so stupid. And what I was doing, I reinforced what I said I was upset about. That when I was at school, people used to think I was stupid. And yet I ran up the stairs and the first thing I told myself was, you're stupid. So I had to stop that. Right, got to have a drink. I am loving it. I love that fleece. This is on brand. I have trainers in this. I have hats in this. It's an American brand. It's not a cheap brand. But as I'm Helen Bullen and I am all about no bull, doesn't it suit me? I tell you. And obviously I bought it in my branding colours. Right, let me just have a look at my Instagram. Talk to the mirror. Yeah, I'm the world's worst, best at giving up. Yep. So now, never say that to yourself again, Sue, right? Never say that to yourself again. Say to yourself, I give up. I can be prone to giving up, but what can I do to not do that? I'm not going to do that this time. Yeah. You can tweak and change because I don't want you to turn into the monster that then never changes anything and goes, well, I've always done this. I do it the same way. That's no good either. Talk to the mirror, Suzanne. Imposter syndrome comes up now and again. Yep, it does for everybody, Sarah. Then a lovely walk usually helps, or it means I'm in the right place. I need to smile and continue. So it was, yeah, lovely. I love it. Yeah, I love it. That's brilliant. Right, let's have a look at my Facebook. And it could be possibly LinkedIn as well. Yeah, feeling that bit like that at the moment, says Rebecca. Defeatist, says Helen. Great name, Helen. Self-sabotage, imposter syndrome. We have them all, don't we? But sometimes you have to say, okay, and one of my principles, if you haven't read my book, go read it, is about releasing our limiting beliefs. And it's about getting over those limiting beliefs and knowing that we have them, but working out how to deal with them. Because I can't say to you, oh, live a life and you'll be limiting, you'll never have another limiting beliefs. Of course you will. You're a human being. We all have them. Not sure if I can do it. And then you go, okay, well, let me work out how I've got to do it and maybe I'll be able to. So, don't worry about having, I think sometimes people say don't have imposter syndrome. And I would say, be aware that we all have a bit of imposter syndrome. But when you feel it, go and talk to the mirror. I'm going to have a whole load of you talking to mirrors. I love it. I'll be known as the nutter that talks to the mirror. I don't do it in public, just saying. Maybe I will. But, next time you feel it, think, okay, that's normal. It's normal to feel like this. Maybe it's excitement. Maybe it's a bit of, maybe I need to go and learn a bit more about what I'm trying to do. Because sometimes imposter syndrome comes up because we don't quite know how to do something. So ask for help. Get inside the HB club, whatever you need to do. Consistency is so important. One of my cancer clients said it was a major part of his recovery to be consistent with his daily routine. And Kirsty knows me well. Kirsty's in my mastermind and she knows because we're on a little Slack thing at the moment. I'm right on my fitness at the moment. I'm on a 75-day challenge. I have not strayed off it. I am doing battle ropes. I'm running and I'm going to call them chemo knees. My knees, whether it's worn away some of the cartilage, the chemo has affected my knees. I used to run a lot. And I'm not struggling because out of breath, I'm struggling because my knees. So I'm having to come back slowly. So I did 3K yesterday, came back, did my abs. I did a circuit, did some ropes. I did my press up. I'm on it, right? But that's because I truly believe, and if you read my book as well, you can achieve anything when you commit to it. And consistency is part of committing. Right, let's get back on track. So the other reason sometimes we lose is we don't regroup and we don't go again. So we give up but we don't retry. So you can stop something, but what you want to do is go back and look and go, okay, just spend 10 minutes here working out why I think that didn't work, and be honest. Because quite often, especially when I work with people, I can say, why didn't it work? They go, oh, I just didn't, nobody turned up. And I go, well, did you post consistently? Did you put stuff out there? Were you talking about it right till the last minute? Blah, blah, blah. Did you send your email? How big is your email list? What are you doing? And they'll go, oh, there'll be something in there that we can tweak. Okay. Sometimes an idea isn't right and you completely misjudged it, and that's fine too. And we all do that as well. Just go again with something else. The other thing that I find when people are beating themselves up, and the football team comes back in mind for this, is you have no tactic for winning. Okay. You haven't got any structure. You're not really sure. You're doing scattergun marketing, throwing it out there, or you're even doing my other method of marketing, which is in my book, which isn't a method, is the sit, wait, and hope method. Right? You're sitting there, you're waiting, you're hoping it's going to happen. All right. It doesn't work. I'd love to tell you it does. And I probably used that in the first few years of my business until I thought, oh my God, I'm going to have to learn how to market my business. So how do we change this up? Mindset. It's important to be positive. Now, you can't just turn on positivity. And if you are feeling so low, I always put this caveat in. I'm a retired osteopath, so I get it. And I've done a lot of medical training. If you're feeling so low, you can't get yourself out of bed and you really have got black moods, that is different to this, okay? That is, please go and see your GP, talk to a friend, get yourself seen, okay? And there's nothing wrong with that. It's a different place. If, however, you're just sometimes a bit of a moaner, a bit of a whinger, we can all do that, can't we? Or it's not fair, or I'm looking at other people and wishing, turn your mindset around. And I always, this is a quote, it's my quote, and it is simple. Negativity feels shit, all right? It will never solve anything, right? It won't make things better. It will, in fact, make you feel worse. Even if somebody, and my worst case scenario is if somebody passes away. Even if they pass away, I'm going to feel bad. I'm going to feel bad and I'm going to feel sad, but it's not going to make them come back. So what am I going to do? And for me, I've always thought, well, I can't be Pollyanna. I can't be happy all the time. But when I can, I'm going to build on living the best life I can live in the honor of that person and in their memory, and think about good things about them to move on. And that's my positive way. Okay. So negativity feels bleep. Okay. I'll do that just in case any of the platforms don't like me saying it. Bleep doesn't feel good. Okay. Negativity doesn't feel good. It won't solve anything. And here's my solution. Don't do it. Okay, so if you feel yourself doing it, go and talk to the mirror, give yourself talking to. Come on, let's be positive. What are you grateful for? What affirmations you can do? And whether you believe in them or not, just find something that inspires you. For me, it's I can, I will, watch me. It's also noble, I have to say, but I can, I will, and bloody well watch me. You watch me. And if anybody ever doubts me, I don't have that mentality. I'm lucky. I don't have that mentality to think, oh, I can't do it because they don't believe me. I'm like, oh, bring it on. You don't believe I can do it. Oh, come on then. Come on then. Let's have a challenge. I'm competitive, right? Not competitive with other people that do what I do, but competitive with people that don't believe in me. I'm like, okay, watch. I'm competitive when I've got one person in mind, and it actually is a man, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a man, but treats me like I'm Eddie's little wife, who Eddie's bought my car and stuff like that. And, obviously Eddie's done everything. Eddie runs my business almost. I'm like that. I'm like, oh, okay then. Right. Let me just sit back and listen to you saying all this shit and watch me. So anyway, that's me. Going to do that. Failure is learning opportunity. It is. Sue, that's such a great point. I've put here, losing is learning. On my shitty little bit of paper. Losing is learning. I mean, it's not a nice thing. And yes, I try to avoid losing. It's not like it's okay to lose all the time. But make sure, unlike that football team, you don't beat yourself. You learn from it. And, what's the point? If you've got a team, what is the point if things go wrong, being nasty to your team? I've never got that. I was always the player on court when I played that settled the team, right? So if I've got a setter in volleyball, you have somebody that sets the ball. If they're highly strung or somebody else is a bit like this, you just have to settle them. Because for me, having a team that is battling, if I've got two players not working together and each other, we're all going to go down because nobody's playing their game. If you, however, have a team that you're boosting and helping and making sure, this is the thing, if you've got a team, okay, and it could be somebody you're contracting to, making sure everybody knows what tune you're playing to, what system you are playing. As a volleyballer, I played through the middle. My job was to block a ball as soon as look at those hands, block a ball. any ball that came on the net. That was my job. I was in the middle. Maybe the person on the right joined me or the person on the left, depending when the ball was hit. I was down the line when the ball was hit. That was the system we played. I didn't suddenly think, I think the ball's going over there, I'm going to stand over there, because in the system, somebody else was over there. So you have to make sure in your business you have structure. You know it. Real structure, was it? Structure. You know where you're going. Okay. Don't make yourself lose, okay, in business, and be really aware that you can, and you probably are, the biggest problem in your business. And that doesn't mean you have to think negatively about yourself. It's just to think, right, okay, if I'm the biggest problem, that's easy. I just sort me out. I sort me out. I build structure in. I work on my positive, my mindset, and I go again, and I never give up. Simple. Right. Eddie's little wife time bomb. Yeah. Kaboom. Eddie doesn't think of me as his little wife, but I do find that makes the hackles on my very short hair stand up like a Mohican. Right, let me just go through these last comments. If you've enjoyed it today, please share it. Please go and check out my book. The link is in my bio on Instagram. It's in the blue button on Facebook. I'll post it in, and I'll make sure it's on LinkedIn and YouTube. I'll make sure there's a link as well. But if you haven't read it yet, and I think it's $6.99 at the moment, it may even be cheaper on Kindle. But buy the copy. Have I got one on my desk? No, I haven't. I'm not in my office. I'm really proud of the book. And it does say marketing for therapists, but that's because when I wrote it, I was an osteopath writing it, but it will work for anybody. I teach my Commit to Achieve principles in whatever thing I'm doing, whether it's a cancer fight, whether it's a health and fitness fight, whether it's my business, whether it's any other type of business I'm coaching, I use those principles. So go and have a look, check it out today, and let me know what you think. If you like it, and if you've read it already, go write me a review. Let's get some marketing in here. Right, morning, just back from walking the dog in delightful weather, says Becca. I'm not sure if it is delightful or not. It's great. I go back to it all the time. Oh, thanks, Steph. That's my book. So it's called I've Got Your Back. And if you can't find it, just put Helen Bullen into Amazon. You will find me. All right. You will find the book. We've got anyone there. Being more Helen has been my go-to phrase this week, says Kirsty. Thanks. Thanks. Don't do all my bad habits, though, and I'm not going to tell you those, so you don't get into those. Right, I'm going to say goodbye to Instagram first. Thank you so much. Let me do some. Hey, a few people on that I hadn't seen. Thank you. I'm just waving to you all. Thank you so much for joining. If you like what I'm doing, just make sure you like my page, follow me. I'm always here on a Wednesday morning at 7:30 for my Woohoo Wednesday. But I do post content, and I'd love it if you chat to me on there. Somebody the other day got onto my email list, and it's that as well as ad hoc. It's whatever I'm thinking of on the day. There'll be tips and ideas, but plus a bit of fun. Yeah, I don't like to bore you. And occasionally, if I've got something great going on, I will tell you about. But somebody the other day wrote back to me and said, thanks, because there's a little tell me about yourself. So I can't wait to reply to them. I love chatting to you all. Right. Speak to you later. Bye, Instagram. Thank you so much for listening. And my lovely Facebook and LinkedIn and all the other channels that I'm still streaming on. I hope you've enjoyed that. Check out my book if you haven't done already. Check out this brand. They are cool. Although whenever I tag them, they never say anything. So maybe not. Maybe not. How to upset Helen. Maybe I should have the toggles just like this. No bee, no bull. That's what it's all about. Go and talk to yourself in the mirror if you do nothing else today. Speak to you later. Have a great Woohoo Wednesday, and I hope to see you next week, or if not before, on one of my platforms. Speak to you later.